Hello, hello. Welcome to the Emmy Evolving channel. My allergies just kicked in right when my allergies have been insane. So, welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. I'm going to be doing a reading on this lovely Easter day. Very lovely Easter morning. Oopsie. What's going on? Oh my God, this guy is so disgusting. My goodness. My goodness. Oh my God. Some people need to just not be spoken about. All right, let me just get my cards ready. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I got was let your story play itself out. Okay. This is a case of needing to just allow things to unfold in the way they're meant to unfold, right? This includes the people in your life, situations that you're in, excuse me, all sorts of different stuff. No longer forcing, okay? Don't allow yourself to become so involved with your perception of how you think this should play out that you begin to alter the way it is playing out. So that's super important. Super duper important. When you get so involved in your perception of how it should play out, and you don't really know how it's supposed to play out, what ends up happening is you tend to interfere with what your soul already has planned for you. So we have to make sure that we don't like interfere with that. Okay, let's pull some cards already. Do 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 do. How are you guys doing, by the way? Been so super duper busy. Super duper busy. Oh, 10 heroic things the INFJ has done for humanity. What have we done? What have we done now? Okay. Let me get some cards from here. So let's get started. Ooh, grounding. You are needing to really allow yourself to become fully present. When a plant does not really ground itself, when it doesn't go deeper into the ground, spread its roots out, it becomes much easier to knock down, right? Why are weeds so difficult to get rid of? Because they spread their roots far and wide, okay? Their roots sometimes will go really, really deep, and it doesn't matter if you try and yank them, as long as there's roots that are left, they will regrow. You have to allow your roots to spread out. You have to allow yourself to become so just trusting in your journey and not trusting other people. Other people need to earn that trust. That's what I keep learning over and over. Other people need to earn your trust. Good person or not, that's something they need to earn. You don't just give that away. Okay? Would you just kind of, let me recalibrate myself. Let me recalibrate myself because no, some people just have the most toxic effect on me. Some people just have the most toxic effect on me. I had seen a notification come in on my phone. And I have an absolute disdain for this individual because they've been told multiple times. I don't want anything to do with them. And so I'm needing to make a decision right now. How am I going to allow the knowledge to affect me? I can either allow myself to revert back into patterns of petty cattiness. I can allow it to affect this reading. I can allow it to ruin my day, or I can allow something else. And what is that something else? A conscious decision being made where I can choose to not be affected, just be aware, but not be affected. So, what am I going to choose right now? I think existing in a state of awareness, but not allowing that awareness to be the very thing that causes the effects that lead to toxic reactivity. I think that's a very powerful place to exist in. I think that's a very, very, very powerful place to exist in. Okay. One of the things that I'm now inspired to talk about because I saw their name, one of the things that I'm now inspired to talk about is there will be the most toxic people, and you won't know they're toxic until they're fully invested in what they are trying to take from you, how they are trying to manipulate you, all of these different ugly things, right? One of the ways to kind of safeguard yourself is by pausing. What would cause you to pause? What I have found, what I'm inspired to kind of talk about right now, based on this individual, some toxic people will continue to offer you anything and everything just to get you in their clutches. Be careful about that. When you already feel some weird kind of way towards an individual, right? You don't know why. They just make you feel kind of weird. They trigger you in some way, and you keep trying to tell yourself, let me not be mean. I need to be nicer. Like all of these things that kind of convince you that your intuition is malfunctioning. That's an intuitive hit. Your intuition is communicating with you. Okay. It's not being mean. That's not being mean. Getting a sense for someone's malignancy is not being mean. You're not saying they're a bad person. Your intuition is telling you this does not feel right. Okay. And when they continue to offer and offer, and you've already said no, and they continue to offer and insist, listen to your intuition. This specific person, all of this has played out publicly at some point. The specific person, they felt really like to me to begin with, like really eek. And, again, trying to tell myself, don't be like that girl. They might just be going through something, this and that. Fast forward several live streams, and then this person took it upon themselves. I didn't know who commented, but I addressed the comment, not in a combative way. I shared my opinion. It's my live stream. My live streams are my opinions. And then they then corrected me that my perception was wrong because blah, blah, blah. And then they made the fatal mistake of telling me to calm down. First off, I'm not even riled up yet. I wasn't even riled up yet. And then it was just like, okay, now I get it. You're one of those. You are one of those who tries to offer the world, tries to make all of these grand gestures to get what you want from me. This person wanted a reading from me. And instead of just going to my website and purchasing a private reading or, going to one of my live events where I'm doing readings for dirt cheap, instead they felt like they were going to make all of these offers to make me feel indebted to them so that I would do all of that for free. No, no. This is an individual who has publicly offered to give me housing. Like, but here's the catch. The housing that they were going to give me so I could provide for my brother is a duplex, and they have the other side of it. Why would I want you to know where I am? You know? And the most recent, and they pop up. I ban the account, pop up again. I ban the account, make a new account, ban, new, ban, new, ban, new, ban, new, ban, new. That's the pattern. This morning, it's, I could help you with a fundraiser. I don't want your help. I don't want your help. I want integrity. I want purity of heart. I want only the people who understand what it is I'm doing with the work that I do. I'm not interested in simply gaining funds. What I am doing is providing a sacred space for those who are ready to begin a journey as a village, as a unified people, to bring to fruition an actual tangible location where we can begin living this way, where we can create the structure from which we can learn and grow and build together. There are many types of people that exist in this world. Recognize what type you are. When you are a lover, when you are a giver, when you are a highly sensitive, empathic being, you have a tendency to overly accommodate the people who have no problem taking advantage of who you are. Don't give them access to you. There is nothing you can gain from that type of interaction that you cannot, first and foremost, earn yourself easily. Secondly, do you really want that toxicity in your life? You have your own toxicity that already exists. Do you want to pressure inject more toxicity? Do you want to? Now, just by the sight of this, like that could really make me go full toxic real quick. Simply because it's one of those things where it's like, golly gee, is it me? Am I the drama? No, I'm not the drama. I'm absolutely not the drama. Give me 1 second, okay? Yeah, not surprised. They just created this profile yesterday. Absolutely not surprised. And yes, I screenshot everything. Um, I screenshot everything so that I have definitive, tangible proof of how many times I have refused to interact with you, and you have continued to try and force that upon me. So when we allow ourselves to go fully into our sovereign space, beautiful things have a tendency to happen. You return back into this place of personal power within yourself. You begin to realize that you have the power and the authority to make these types of decisions, to cultivate your space in this way. And you need to. You need to allow yourself to begin cultivating your space in the way that you choose. If I allow toxic things into my life, things that I perceive to be toxic, people that I perceive to be extremely unhealthy for me, that's a decision that I've made. And when I take accountability for that decision, something ridiculously beautiful happens. If I can decide to make a left turn and get lost, I can also decide to make a right turn and stay on the path that I am supposed to be on. What does that tell me? that I am fully in control, that although I don't feel as though I'm in control, I actually am. And the more I allow myself to embrace my level of control and authority within my personal life, the more I begin to understand that no, I am not simply at the mercy of other people. No, I am not simply a byproduct of my environment. No, I don't have limitations that you dictate I have. I then enter into a space of beginning to explore the truth of this elevation in my potential limitlessness. And when you enter into that and you fully immerse yourself, you are provided opportunities repeatedly, day in and day out, reminder after reminder after reminder of how in control and powerful you are over yourself and your life. We don't need to control other people. And we sure as heck don't need to allow other people to be able to control us. Okay? Now, some people might be like, oh my gosh, why is she turning? No, no. I will not question my integrity. I will not question my integrity. I will not feel badly, whether privately or publicly, about cutting off access of someone who has repeatedly shown me how toxic, inconsiderate, and just flat out malignant they are. No, there's nothing for me to be ashamed of. Nothing at all. Don't think that just because someone is offering something that you are actually going to benefit from it. I have met plenty of people like that. Plenty. Plenty who make all these promises only for me to constantly be the one to give. No, no. I don't need help like that. And what type of help is that? That's a type of help that helps you to learn through adversity just how powerful you are. If you've ever wondered why you keep repeating the same patterns, you need to ask yourself, am I continuing to allow these type of helpers into my life? You know, these helpers are the ones who help you through their adversity. They provide you with challenges. They provide you with suffering and struggling and all sorts of negativity. And people can easily be like, but Emmy, that's not fair. You don't even really know them. Any healthy, balanced individual, when someone tells you they want nothing to do with you, you don't make new accounts to continue to force interaction. That behavior all on its own tells me exactly how toxic they are. When someone continues to try and force you, honey, don't be scared or worried about who witnesses you claiming your own space. Claim your space. Own your decisions. You don't know who you are inspiring to become a sovereign just like you. When we lose our fear of addressing our needs, regardless of who is watching, we free everyone who is there to witness this to begin to think for themselves, to begin to question, do I need to participate in this event in my life? Because I'm seeing some similarities to what I'm witnessing with this girl. I'm wondering if maybe I'm also being manipulated, and manipulators are very good at getting you to think that you're the issue. Honey, you're going to be the issue as long as they're not getting what they want. And when they get what they want, you're still going to be the issue so they can still keep getting what they want. So, what am I saying? I promise you're not the issue. Unless you're allowing them to do this to you, then yes, of course, you are your issue. And the only issue there is that you need to remove them and you haven't. Okay. Awakening. Allow yourself to reach higher levels of understanding of what you want and need in the connections that you have with other people. And I'm not saying that this is simply, you need to have, you need to be able to benefit from every single interaction that you have. You need to be the beneficiary. You can only interact with people if you can gain something from them. No, no, not at all. Not at all. I'm totally the type of person where if I have received so much from you already, like it's hard for me to continue receiving. I feel like things should always be balanced. Like you give to me, I should also make sure that you feel just as cherished as you're making me feel, you know? And if you're trying to give to me and I can't find it in me to cherish you, um, then I am not going to be able to find it in me to continue to receive from you because I don't think that's fair. I don't feel like that's an equal exchange. I'm all about equal exchanges, not transactional connections. We have to wake up to the reality that there are quite a few people that exist at this point within our local environment, within our personal circles, who are present simply for the transaction. Transactional relationships are a real thing. They are a real thing. Okay. And it's not just this stereotype, this misogynistic stereotype of, oh, you mean gold diggers, those type of women. No, no. For many of us, we don't even really understand what transactional relationships are. And maybe that's something I should talk about in a podcast. Um, where I really dive deep into what transactional relationships are, all of the different signs, and how to exit out of transactional relationships. We'll see how that goes. So, autumn in reverse. This is the same energy that continues to proliferate all my readings. This is the same energy. This is a lesson or a circumstance, a learning opportunity that began last autumn. It's carrying through. I feel like potentially it's caught a snag, and that snag has been this thing that has really, really affected the way you perceive yourself, the way they perceive themselves. It's about processing a lot of the emotions, processing a lot of just these distorted thoughts, these distorted beliefs. It's almost a sense of having recently been triggered, misunderstanding something that they experienced and being triggered by it unnecessarily. And yes, some triggers are unnecessary. Some triggers are simply because we haven't resolved yet something that happened way in the past, something that might not even have anything to do with anyone else. It might be a childhood thing. We don't know. And we won't know until we begin to actually address things. Prosperity. So, prosperity. This interwovenness. Hmm. I've never had this sense before from this card, but it's almost like an interwovenness. Like, you see how those stalks of grain have been weaved an interwovenness. And I would think that this would be like a headpiece that you put on, almost like a crown or just a headpiece. Um, so it's almost like the sustainability of your growth is interconnected with the thought forms of another person. It's almost like that sense. It's weird. I've never received that type of message or meaning from this card before. An interconnectedness, and that leads to prosperity if you guys could process it. If you guys have the ability to work through whatever internal struggles you're having with what this person might mean to you, then it feels like it can be a prosperous thing. Prosperous can be money related, obviously, but it can also be like success in healing, success in reconnection. We'll see. Rebirth. So I think with this interconnected thoughts, there is a rebirth that's occurring. There is a wanting and a needing to, I can't say redo because that doesn't feel like the right word. It's almost like redo things, but then to be so different when you approach it again, you're not really redoing anything because now it's going to be a completely different experience. How would I quantify that? A restart? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to quantify that because it's not really a do-over because the two of you are so different now. We'll go back to that. I'll set it aside. We'll go back to that. Guidance. So all the messages that maybe you've been receiving, maybe they've been receiving, all of these messages are guidance on how to proceed, how to further this healing journey. Candles, magic in reverse. Ooh, shoot. Okay. Immediately what I got from this, golly gee, I get it now. Immediately what I got from this is someone was severely bound and restricted so that they couldn't walk away from a situation that was unhealthy for them. They continued in that connection. It was a transactional relationship. One person thought it was like actual love, like a love-based connection. They were really investing in this and it kept imploding, and then they kept rebuilding and they kept imploding again over and over and over until finally it reached this breaking point where the individual basically was just like, I can't do this with you anymore. And now that spell is being undone. Someone cast a spell or paid another person to. It's almost like a love spell. If you guys take only one thing away from me and my reading today, or from my channel at large, casting spells on other people is not okay. I don't care how much you love someone. If they don't already reciprocate that love, love yourself enough to simply just walk away. Okay? Because I promise you that miasmic distortion that gets created when we, excuse me, when we allow ourselves to enter into those types of covenants, you're going to regret it. I can't say that I'm sorry. You're going to learn either way the gravity of what you're doing. It reminds me of this scene from, I think it's from The Witcher. It's in the first season where all of these witches were kind of, they were being taught. They needed to levitate this rock that was placed in front of them. They had a flower and then a rock. And they were to levitate this rock by using some type of incantation, right? And so the teacher had one of the girls begin. And as soon as she said the incantation, the rock began to levitate. But her arm also became severely injured. It began to rot. You cannot use magic without giving something of equal value. You just can't. And when someone does it for you, if you think you're so smart and like, well, I didn't do it, someone else did it. When they do something on your behalf, it registers as you doing it. What most people don't know, if you are to do magic for someone else, spell casting, whatever it is, they are basically cloning your code and coding it on their hands and whatever other pathways are being used for magical practice. And that's why it works for you, not someone else. They're using your energy. So that is your magical practice. That means that is your miasmic distortion. And that type of miasma is one hell of a ride. I'm telling you. If you want to try that and you want to participate in things that violate other people's free will, that's up to you. But I'm not going to feel badly for you. I'm just not. Let's see. Concealment. A lot of the things that were concealed, a lot of the things that were kept hidden, because this feels like a third-party circumstance. A lot of the things that were kept hidden for a reason. And that reason being a lot of dishonesty is kind of sprinkled in here. A lot of fear of rejection, fear of abandonment for all three. Yeah, I knew it. I knew it already. So security and banishment, these are in reverse, right? Someone felt very insecure. They decided to banish you, but here's the thing. Now they really are understanding what was the actual threat to themselves and their safety. And now they wish they hadn't banished you. They wish you would just come back. I don't know that you want to or don't want to. That's kind of something you have to decide for yourself. But this reading has everything to do with this masculine in reverse. They've re-entered into a upside down position. I don't know. They've re-entered into some type of upside down position. Again, it seems like they were triggered in some way by something they witnessed from you. I assume they watch you. I assume they either watch your energy or they watch your posts on social media. They're doing something to observe you. I don't know that it's a malignant intention. It's almost like this sense of trying to get a better gauge of how you might respond to their attempt to reconnect when they finally do try. But yeah, they're upside down nonetheless. They were right side up for a little bit. Now they're right back to upside down. Respect. So my thing here is they're going to continue to go through this process of right side up, upside down, right side up, upside down. Personally, I would basically just cast a circle of protection and just leave them be. Leave them be, let them go through their own process. Some might hear what I'm saying and be like, oh my God, this is my chance. This is my chance to save them. No, it's not your chance to save them. I mean, that's my opinion. I feel like this is a test to see if you have learned to respect other people's sovereign right to choose. I feel like this is a test period, like so much testing going on to see if you've actually grown. And these next couple months is going to greatly, greatly affect the way you experience. I'm quoting a I'm quoting a astrologist that I watch. He says the next couple months will greatly influence and determine the way you experience the next 4 to 5 years. And I absolutely feel that. I feel that so strongly. It's something that has been increasing in its validity. I've been watching the energies play out and the trajectories of certain potentialities, and it's absolutely, yes, very, very accurate. Very, very accurate. So, north expansion, but it's in reverse, right? It's in reverse. So, this is telling me that they're contracting, they're pulling back into themselves. And I mean, I feel petty Emmy rising. I feel my petty coming up to play. I kind of feel like go ahead, retract back into yourself and stay there. You don't know how to conduct yourself, stay in there. Stay in that retracted space. Who cares? But that's petty me. That's petty Emmy coming out. I'm just like, I feel like if people wanted to expand their awareness and really expand um, their capacity to live in a much more elevated manner, they would. It's a simple choice. It's a simple choice. You make a decision to do this and then you let your life unfold. You let the story tell itself. It's very, very simple. The reason it's hard is because we try and control, we try and convince ourselves we know what we want and what we need. And we really, really don't. We don't. We don't know until after we've lived through it. We only have true clarity in hindsight. In hindsight. Because I embrace this as truth to the degree that I do, I'm not trying to control anything anymore. I'm just flowing. I'm allowing my life to unfold in the way that it's meant to unfold. That doesn't mean I don't do the work I need to do. That means as I do the work, I'm just getting that task done and allowing my soul to show me what that completed task is leading me towards. Growth, plants, allowing yourself to grow just like the plant. The plant does not pre-plot where the roots will go. It just goes. It doesn't predetermine it. As long as it has the basic requirements, which is what? Soil, water, and sunlight, it can grow. And some people might be like, well, there's different types of soil and different plants need different things. See, you're misunderstanding the analogy. You're misunderstanding the analogy because I'm talking about plants that organically grow in that region. I'm not talking about plants that have been removed from their natural environments and transplanted into areas they don't normally and naturally grow. And so that's the main thing. Have you transplanted yourself into an environment that you naturally are not capable of thriving in? And that's why you have to keep altering everything about yourself and your soil. Amending the soil is not a bad thing. But you know what's so much easier than having to amend the soil and having to supplement all of these different components? Allowing yourself to grow in the environment you were designed to grow in. Stop trying to shove yourself in places that are not for you. I tried to do that with spiritual communities. I tried to allow myself to experience what it feels like to be part of a large community of what I thought were like-minded, like-hearted people. I learned that year That just because we use similar terminology, that we share a similarity in our vernacular, does not mean we share a similarity in our integrity, our mind, or our hearts. I learned that year to stop expecting my heart to exist in other people just because we coexist in the same spiritual community. We're not the same. And to expect my heart out of someone else is unfair and unrealistic. It's just unfair and unrealistic. I know at the depth that I can love people, and most people cannot do that. I said what I said. It's the truth as I've seen and lived it. Most people are not capable of that, not at that depth. And it has to be okay with me at this point. It is okay with me at this point. I'm no longer expecting my heart to exist in other people. And now, because I can very easily allow myself to see you as you are, not for your potentiality, but as you are, the reality of you. I no longer have this need to try and bring out this best in you. I just have this need to allow the best in me to always be front and center, and then free anyone and everyone who witnesses this to decide for themselves if they want to be a reflection of me and allow their best to come out, or if they want to be some other type that's not a reflection of me. That's okay. That's okay. You can be whoever you are. Now, if who you are is going to be something that's toxic for me, you can be who you are somewhere else. It's okay for you to have that mindset. It's okay for you to recognize people as they are and to allow them to be who they are somewhere else, not with you. I used to think that it was my job to make everyone whole. It's my job to show people me in my process of becoming whole myself, and to love you in a way that's so profound that you are free to decide for yourself whether you are ready to be whole right beside me or not. That's valid too. If you're not ready to take on that journey, that's a valid thing as well. Alchemy magic. See, look. How this played out. Oops. They realize you're an equal. They realized you are an inverse equal. That's why they can't get past it. They realized they made a huge mistake and they don't know how to fix that mistake. They go back and forth with how they want to proceed, if they want to proceed. And the reality of this situation with this masculine in reverse, maybe they're not worthy of you. I mean, I'm not speaking in absolutes. It's a question. Maybe they're not worthy of you. You know? Maybe there's someone who, as their potential, they are an equal. But are they living in their potentialities? Are they bringing their potentiality into their reality? Because if not, then that's just a potential that they might not ever tap into. And if that's the case, are you wisely investing your time, energy, and focus, your patience? Are you investing it in the right thing? What if they never tap into the potentiality in this life? What happens to your life? Does that mean you're going to forever be locked in this cycle because you're waiting for them to come back? And if they don't come back, then you can't get to the next level of what you're going to do. Um, do you want my personal opinion on this? Do you wanna hear my personal opinion? Because I have a personal opinion regarding this. Um, but I mean, maybe I can just keep my opinion to myself. Maybe I'll just keep my opinion to myself, and just leave it at that, you know? Um, leave my opinions within me because let's just change gears really quick. All right. So I have this program that I'm launching. It's a series that I'm going to be doing during live streams. If you need guidance on some issue that you've been struggling with, this is not for a personal reading. Okay. This is a Dear Emmy series. Write in, go to my website, soulworksynergistics.com / Dear Emmy. And you can write in, you can make your identity known, or you can go ahead and select the anonymous option. I won't share your identity when I talk about your question on a live stream. The whole premise here is that we all kind of go through very similar things with each other at very similar time frames. And if you don't have the courage to kind of talk about some of the things that you're struggling to gain clarity on, when someone writes in and they have the same type of struggle you're having, me answering that question during a live stream could hopefully give you the answer you're seeking as well. So that's a really amazing thing that we're in the process of starting. We've been getting quite a few Dear Emmy messages. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. There's no maximum number of times you can write in. Okay. If you'd like to have a private reading, or you would like me to help you with correcting any of your energetic situations, go to soulworksynergistics.com / Emmy services. That's where you can book a private session with me. We're also focusing on building the sanctuary, a place where we can really just allow ourselves to return back to this space of Ubuntu. I'm trying with my team to create an eco village, and that's what the sanctuary is going to be. The Soul Sanctuary is an eco village where we will learn about just living our bestest, healthiest, most sovereign and divine lives. Yep. I also have a raffle that's still going on. You go to soulworksynergistics.com / raffle, and you can win a 2-hour meditative experience with me. We can do all of your energetic bodies, correct anything, everything in your energetic field. It's also going to be a meditation. You're going to have a track created for you, a song created just for you and your frequency. And it's going to be recoding you. You're going to keep that track with you. It's going to be an amazing, amazing experience. Go to soulworksynergistics.com / raffle if you want to learn more about that. All right, getting back on track with the reading. I just needed to shift gears because the topic was just really irking me at that point. Storms cleansing in reverse. So some storms can cleanse. It just depends on how you choose to utilize the storms in your life. Okay. Sometimes a storm can go ahead and knock down the trees and the power lines and whatever other things that come crashing down onto your structure, your dwelling, your sacred temple. And even though it could possibly destroy the roof or whatever, I see that as an opportunity to rebuild. That's how I see it. This opportunity to rebuild, renew, just really allowing ourselves to see that even the hardships that we face, the struggles, all of these really like things that probably make you feel like crying when you think about what you've lived through. These are all opportunities to grow in a way that you deserve. You deserve that type of happiness. You deserve to feel loved. First, by yourself, loved by you. Secondly, loved by the people in your environment. Okay. Cave, protection, but it's in reverse. So it's kind of like someone wants to be hidden away. Someone wants to be hidden away and protected and all of these like really, really beautiful things. But their life is pushing them front and center. It's this sense from Marlene that, she says, she says, some poor decision making happened, and they had to understand, um they had to finally just understand that it's just not something that can be sustained. I don't know what that means. I don't know that I want to know. Card number 12, fluidity, outer core. So it's kind of like this is how they feel and this is how you are, right? They want to be in their cave. You're over here coming out of your oceans. They're over here afraid and trying to take shelter from the very water that's going to cleanse them. Here you are immersed in it. This is why, oh, I heard adore. They adore you. They got a weird way of showing it. They have a weird way of showing their adoration for you. I don't know. I don't know. I would personally just leave them alone at this point. If I were you, I would just leave them alone. I would just be like, listen, you going through stuff. You're going through stuff. I don't want to go through that. I kind of just want peace in my life. And you know, I mean, do we always have to be the martyr for everyone? Because I did that most of my life and it didn't do anything for me. It didn't make me any more valuable to other people. It didn't make me more respectable. It didn't make me more successful. It didn't do anything but expose me to the people who would be more than willing to exploit my sensitivities. That's all it did for me. So maybe that's a question we have to ask ourselves before any more of your story can unfold and tell itself. Do you always have to be the martyr in every situation? Do you always have to give at your own detriment? And I mean, like thinking about it, I'm always going to be a giver. I'm always going to be a lover. That's just, I can't help it. I can't help it. That's just who I am. But being a giver and a lover is not the same as being a martyr. I don't have to give and love to that degree where it's at my detriment and that I would willingly choose that just for what? For my own objective of like trying to force you to see me in the way that I say. No, you're free to see me in whatever way you see me. If you watch my live streams day in and day out, you get a pretty good sense of who I am. You just do. You get a pretty good sense of who I am. And if who I am to you, as you see me being my authentic self, is annoying, then I guess that's who I am to you. Well, I don't care. And maybe that's a trauma response. Maybe that's me responding in a way that's detached because I've been traumatized by people. Or maybe really, I don't need to care. I don't need to care if you think I'm annoying. You know, I think it's like, I think it's more of this case of why do other people's opinions need to matter so much to you? Like for me, people can hate me. That's okay. But if you hate me, why do you keep coming around? Do yourself a favor. Don't come around if I make you feel uncomfortable in such a toxic way. If I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay. You don't need to take up that space. Someone else will come and take your space. You don't have to hold that for me anymore. You know, I'm really just allowing myself to be as authentic as I can be, not just externally, because that's important, but more important than living in an authentic way is being authentic with myself. Just really being authentic with myself at this point, not attacking myself if I'm not complying with what I think I should do. Just um, really being clear, you know, being very, very clear with myself. Like, what do you want? What was your expectation of this person? Oh my gosh, I just got a notification. Sorry. Teresa, Teresa Jaffel, are you here? It says it's her birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Yeah, no, I'm done with all of that game that I used to play with myself of if only I was nicer, if only I was this, if only I wasn't that, if only I was, if only I was, if only I was. And it's like, who cares? Who cares? I do. I do. I care. And the most powerful thing I did for myself in the unfoldment of my story is allow myself to be very cognitive, very aware of exactly what it is I care about. Do I care about other people's opinion in that way? Not anymore. No. So, what do I care about? I care about working on myself enough to be able to accept, to be able to receive when people who see the truth of me are able to cherish me and they tell me amazing things they perceive about me. Because knowing who I am, knowing how I am, it's so much easier for me to accept the negative things that people say or do directed at me than it is for me to accept the beautiful, kind, loving words that people tell me about myself. And no, I don't have struggles with self-worth. I don't think I'm unworthy or any of that. I just find it a lot easier to believe that I am annoying, that I am all of these things that are very undesirable for people to be around. And it's like, is that my reality? Is that what my unfolding story is telling me about myself in my life? No, it's so far from what I'm living. So, so far. And so it becomes this thing of, well, why would I believe that? Well, because I'm afraid of actually allowing myself to witness myself as the greatness that I am. Yeah. And recognizing that you are a living greatness really has nothing to do with competing and comparing with other people. It has nothing to do with some type of implied, well, if I have greatness, then you don't. No, no, doesn't mean that at all. As empaths, it's okay for your learning to only apply to you. It's okay for you to be able to make that declaration that you contain greatness as is dictated by creator itself, you know? Mm. Mildred. Mildred says, I keep dating losers. What does that say about me? What's your definition of a loser, first and foremost? If your definition of a loser is someone who treats you poorly, it means you are continuing cycles that began in childhood, most likely. You are looking for the people who maybe they're not losers. Maybe they're simply the people who are more than capable and willing and able to treat you in the way you were treated as a child. So instead of saying, what does that say about you, as though you're incapable of making good decisions and you always pick losers, so therefore you must be a loser, you're not a loser, nor are they. You're in a cycle. The cycle needs to be acknowledged for what it is, the root causation identified and corrected. And that's it. That's it. We have to begin recognizing how the words we use they can um they can be the very roadmap to find exactly where you need to go within yourself. They can. The types of words that I used to select when I would silently attack myself, um, they were the words that were used when I was a child. She goes on to say, Mildred goes on to say, last guy was great, but he has erectile dysfunction. I'm a recovering addict, lots of guilt still lingering. So I'm wondering if you ended up with someone who has erectile dysfunction as a recovering addict because, you know, people who have addiction struggles have a tendency to simply struggle with hyperfixation. And maybe whatever you were recovering from an addiction to was about to be transferred into a sexual addiction. And instead of viewing that person as like a poor choice or a loser, maybe the gift in that encounter was to connect with someone in a non-sexual way to avoid developing a sexual addiction as a replacement for whatever addiction you're recovering from. When we allow ourselves to really take a good hard look at our lives and the situations we've been placed in, we weren't placed in that, we selected it as part of our learning. You're learning beautifully, beautifully. Clarity, mountain. Everyone wants to get to the top of the mountain because they want to exist at the apex. Mountain tops are cold and the sun burns. You want to be at that mountain, prepare to be burned by your truth. Prepare to exist in a state of solitude, frozen by your own emotions, gasping for air. I always live on a mountain. I always live at some type of very high elevation. And I think that's indicative of where I am finally at in my life, where being up there is home for me now. It's home for me. The sun doesn't burn my skin the way it used to. A lot of people don't know this. Like when I lived in Colorado for a bit, like is a very high elevation, right? Tell you right. High. Um, and I distinctly remember like if you're out in the sun for any length of period, you will burn really fast. And I'm not really one who sunburns. But because you're so much higher, the sun is so much stronger. It's this thing of acclimating to the truth of who you are, where you are. The sun being this analogy to your truth, being closer to your truth, being the very thing that burns you, burns your skin. And really, what is your skin? The largest organ, and it wraps around your entire body to protect you. The barrier between your inside and your outer world. So your skin is a living armor. And the truth burns away the armor, exposes you and the reality of who you are. Like, I don't see anything shameful or embarrassing or any of that by what Mildred shared at all. When you're able to show up and be as open as you possibly can be and just sharing things of yourself, it creates the opportunity for conversations that transcend and go much deeper than the casual connectivity. I think that's what the world is just so starved for, a depth of connection, no more of that casualness. I mean, if you guys look at the comments, let me show some of these comments. It's powerful. This space is so powerful. Jade Crystal says, I've been getting ghosted lately and it sucks major D. I feel like I attract people based off my childhood and my mom not being emotionally available to me. My mom's in jail right now. Sorry, boo. Very sorry. Then she shares, I'm a recovering addict, 3 years. Mildred's also been sober for 3 years. Catherine's also on a journey to heal her addiction. You guys are not alone in this. So many people, see here, I am not a licensed mental health professional. These are all just my opinions. Okay. I want to make that very clear. These are just all my opinions, my perception based on having assisted thousands of clients at this point. What I've recognized, observing the way their morphogenetic template transmits information into their genetics. People who struggle with addiction are people who were detached from at least one person. They didn't have at least one person in their earlier life to attach to. And the pain of that separation must be medicated in some way. And so they find a way to cope, a way that doesn't shame them. It creates shame after the medicated part. But as they medicate themselves, there's no shame. It's just a concern of trying to numb some of that hurt and causing more hurt by shaming you for already suffering through life. No one chooses to be an addict. Get real here. Before people come on here like, oh my God, I cannot believe that you are making excuses for addicts. First and foremost, shut your face. Don't you ever come into my sacred space and try and shame anyone, especially the ones who've already hurt the most. Hurt so much that they had to self-medicate. Don't you ever dare try and do that in my presence. Not even in the comments after the video's done. Because you'll catch a whole nother side of this mama bear. Secondly, understanding the mechanics of what separation does. Oh my gosh. The type of unrecognized pain, the devastation that occurs, that's irreparable harm that is being done. So let's make a very clear analogy right now. So some of us don't know what it's like. I know I don't know what it's like to be addicted to substances. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that. Okay. I don't know what it's like to be addicted to substances. That's okay. How many of you here in the comments are like, oh my God, my twin left. We're in separation. We're supposed to be in divine union. And they had to run away. This is part of the separation. It hurts me so bad, Emmy. Like, I need answers. How do I get them back? Like it feels like I've been gutted, like my heart is ripped out, like all of these different ways describe the type of pain of a twin separation, right? You don't even know if that motherfucker is your twin, yet you're like, oh my God, I'm hurting so much. Imagine if that was your mother, who society tells you is supposed to love you, protect you, be your shield. Yeah, yeah. Now are you starting to understand why some people will medicate, self medicate? Because that type of pain, oh my, oh my, oh my. That's definitely gonna hurt. Not like a fractured bone, not like a broken bone, but like a crushed bone that is partially sticking out. That type of pain that people go through, you don't know what anyone's been through. There's so much that I share while I'm live, but I promise you that's not even the tip of the iceberg for what I have lived through. And no, I don't feel like sharing it. I heard someone like, well, just tell us. Why? I don't feel called to tell. Not right now. See, and you guys don't have to share aspects of your life that you don't feel called to share by your soul. That has to do with the overgiving, where you allow yourself to be coerced into giving more than what you need to give. I share what I'm called to share by my soul. And unless my soul calls me to share it, I don't have to. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Do I have to share how my day went? No. Do I have to share why you didn't live stream yesterday? No. I don't have to share anything. That's for me to decide, just like it's for you to decide. Allowing your story to unfold and be told by your life situations, by your life's experiences. It's a very powerful way to live. Very, very powerful. Um, so Brandy says, I've mentioned how my session, Michael pointed out your name. Brandy says, I've mentioned how my session helped me quit using, but at the same time, it seemed to help my boyfriend also. He got clean right after. I don't know if it's because the connection we share, maybe it transferred. So, Brandy, is it okay that I kind of just rehash what you shared in a previous live stream? Is that okay with you? Because I want to share this, but I want to make sure that it's okay with you first. um, and I'll share with you part of what happened to maybe give you clarity. So sometimes soul will bring to me the type of situations that cause me to question how far I should go. When is it too much? When should I ease up and back away? And you know, so I do expedites, and these are kind of like condensed sessions. They're not private sessions. They're done via live stream, and I'll do a whole bunch of expedites in one live stream. And I do the work that you pay for. And sometimes the soul will ask me to add a little extra work or whatever it is. So one day I was doing expedites and someone decided to purchase a scan for Brandy. And I had seen that at first when I was scrolling through, and you know, it already affected my heart. I was just like, oh, you know? And so before I ever got to her, I went ahead and sent sedation. When it was her turn, she wasn't on the video. And I was like, "Ooh, I might have sent too much sedation." And so I began doing the scan for her. She had fallen asleep. I found out later on she had fallen asleep. But I began doing the scan for her, and I saw so much just devastation in her auric field, so much. And it broke my heart. And then her soul began to communicate to me that she was in a position where she was ready. She was ready to begin her healing process. And she had never, before this, she had never shared that she had substance struggles. Now, I don't read people without their permission unless it's a matter of extreme urgent safety. But here's the reality of things. Even if I don't scan you intentionally, you project outside of your auric shield this information that is basically free for the rest of creation to read. That's not a violation of your privacy. So, for many of us, when we have substance struggles, when we have psychological struggles, emotional struggles, that is projected and broadcast on your outermost etheric shield, right outside of your aura. So you can see this. Well, I can. And I had seen it on Brandy before, which I felt like it was none of my business, privacy, hello. And I felt like it was none of my business, but that's fine. And when I had the opportunity to scan her and her soul asked me to help, I did. I wish I could have got her consent before I started, like, have a conversation with her, um, and have her say, like, okay. But while she was sleeping, I initiated a rapid detox of the substances that she was on. And then I capped her receptors, and that began her becoming sober, her journey to sobriety. Um, One of the things that her soul had said, it gave me two options. And I didn't mention this before. Um, it gave me two options because I had remembered that she had said something about a friend and a lake and, all of that stuff. Um, I wasn't sure if that was her romantic partner. And so I didn't want to make the wrong decision. The two options were drive this man away, basically overlay my energy on the outside of her shield, and he has demonic stuff that would drive him away, but she would be alone. That would be painful for her. Or they had a cord existing between them. He's not your twin, though. There's a cord existing between them, and what I had the other option of doing was pressure injecting, cloning and pressure injecting all the work that I had done on you, Brandy. Cap all his receptors, and then let him decide. And his options were leaving you so he could get high, or staying with you and cherishing you. And in that, he too would be clean. He'd be cleansed. So now you know he chose you. He definitely had the option to leave. The coding was set where if he was going to try and drag you back down, and reintroduce substances into your life, the code was set to sever that cord and basically attack through the cord so that he would leave you. So he has integrity. It wouldn't be me attacking. It would be all the demonic stuff that I had pushed out of both of your fields to give you a moment of clarity. That wasn't going to stay permanent. It would only work for a couple weeks to give you time to stabilize and begin your sobriety journey, and you've done beautifully. You've done so beautifully, both of you. So now you're both clean. She also said, we now have a place together and we are both working and doing so good. You did it. You did it together. It's a beautiful thing. He's not a twin, but he is like a soulmate. Your souls have known each other for a very long time. Your souls have gone through quite a bit of struggle together, not just in this life, previous lives, quite a few previous lives. He's gotten you into quite a bit of stuff before. That's why I was like, should I drive him away? What are the options? How's that going to play out? But I knew you would be very, very lonely and you would feel very, very rejected. And that would increase the likelihood that you would seek another round of self-medicating. And so I figured, you're smart. Let me not do that. Let me not take away your ability to decide for yourself. And let me just not interfere with the way this plays out. Clean you both, cap you both, and see how it goes. I wasn't sure if it worked because you never mentioned him after that. You didn't say what happened. I didn't want to ask. That's one of my things. Like, I don't know. I never want to ask people things. I'm just like, oh, I'll just quietly, secretly wonder forever. Silence, snow. Allowing yourself to exist in that silence for a period, right? Remember, I was saying at the mountaintop, it's cold. There's silence. There is a stillness when you live on a mountain, especially when it snows. There is this just like insulated stillness. It's beautiful. So companionship, animals, but it's in reverse. So many of us are not realizing that we're seeking a companionship that doesn't have anything to do with animals, meaning another human being. Humans think we're just so above all the other mammalia. We're mammals, we're animals. We're animals, you know? We're animals. We are animals just like all the other animals. Okay. I think what we're seeking companionship from is between ourself and our soul. And we have to allow ourselves to really be in this space where we can receive communication from soul, you know? Let's see. Purity, ice. All of this is being done in the cold space. Cold being what? Feminine energy is cold, lunar energy, yin energy. Masculine energy is solar, heat, fire. So this is all being done in the feminine, not just the female of the pair, but that feminine energy. If you look at writings like the Kybalion, where it talks about energetic genders, right? It speaks of polarities, energetic genders, and all of us have both the masculine and the feminine aspects within us. Yes, both exist within you. And when this becomes something that's not quite understood by the individual as they're experiencing things, or there's a lot of endocrine disruptors that are injected into their environment, into their food. Yes, endocrine disruptors. Why do you think there's an increase in what do you call it? Confusion about your actual identity, right? Now, I'm not saying that gender dysphoria is a made up thing. I'm not saying that transgender people are not actually trans. I'm saying that's not my business at all to tell anyone who they are. They have to go through this journey. I'm talking about what causes the start of that type of struggle in your journey. There's a lot of manipulations that go on that I can't talk about on this channel. I can probably talk about it at some point this week in my private ministry area where we have our exclusive chats. But like for me personally, I kind of wondered when I was much younger if I had some type of dysphoria going on, because although I look very feminine, My energy, my mindset, the way I approach quite a bit of things is very masculine. I can identify with masculinity more than I can with femininity. And it's just, I have a higher masculine content of energy. That doesn't mean I'm male. That doesn't mean that I personally was born in a wrong body. Okay. I'm not talking about anyone else. It's not my business to tell you who you are. Okay. But I'm just saying, like, um, all of this energy that's flowing through, it has to do with what's being processed in the feminine aspect of you, that feminine aspect. So these are things that are going to feel very cold. Like for the human experience, the feminine is supposed to be very soft and cuddly and warm and whatnot, nurturing. In the energetic aspect of things, think ice, frozen, cold, you know? The world that we live in is very convoluted. It likes to mix everything up. And if you think I'm full of shit, someone said she's full of shit. Maybe. You ever seen mantids? You know what the female does? After the male mantis mates with her, you know what she does? She captures him and bites his head off. And then she eats him. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Yeah. There's this song when I was in high school. There was this song. It goes something along the lines of shock, shock, horror, horror, shock, shock, horror. The female of the species is more deadlier than the male. I'm just saying, you know? So, and this is not a competition between male and female. I'm just reiterating what I've observed. Okay. I didn't read this in books. I've observed this. Brandy says, my kid is transgender. I often wonder if it's a distortion or did their soul spend more lifetimes as a male and there's a greater remembrance of that? It could be either one, Brandy. It's a very good question. It could be either one. Like many, many, many of my lifetimes, I've been a male, like masculine, hyper masculine male. So there's a lot of that plays in. There's also, again, the whole thing of endocrine disruptors, a lot of social engineering, social programming. I mean, they've convinced the children they're broken. If any of the children have any level of intelligence from like kinder all the way through middle school, and then it heightens in high school, they're programmed with all sorts of really just, well, okay, what's going on? And they're basically taught to believe that they're broken. You're not broken. You're not broken. You are perfectly healthy. This is the period of your life where you're supposed to question yourself and who you are and what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to question your family. That's what that age is. Shedding the identity of childhood and establishing an adult identity. But see, with the way children are being programmed right now, they're being taught to believe they're broken. They need to do things to modify their bodies in order to find their identity that really you're not going to find until you're in your mid to late 20s, early 30s, sometimes not even then. Yep. Yep. So just, it's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. We have to allow ourselves the space, the time, the compassion to really get to know who we are. We have to really get to, I mean, to this day, I still prefer men's clothing over women's. Like most of my clothes are men's clothing. Yeah. I'm very masculine in real life. I mean, I don't know. The way I see things, it's very masculine, traditionally masculine. Yeah. All right. Creation, water, joy, and music. I feel like this ties into the halls of Amenti. This the songs of the spheres being the very thing that is programming the hydroplasmic frequencies, the liquid light, the water. So there's going to be an eclipse on the 30th, and that's what's being done. Wow. So, okay, I'm probably going to do a fire ceremony on the 30th of April. It has a lot to do with the frequencies that are coming in from that moon. This need for cleansing in order to reestablish, restore peace. It's a whole bunch of different things. Whole bunch of different things. Rhonda says, you are not broken. Schools microwave food, which brings up estrogen levels, which creates a males turning into females. Water bottles, when you leave them in a car, if they get heated, they begin to release BPA, which is an endocrine disruptor, which then affects the ratio of estrogen and testosterone in the person's body. It can have physiological effects, which then lead to certain types of emotional and psychological struggles, such as gender dysphoria. Um, these are real struggles. People are not making shit up. These are real struggles. Okay. I don't want it to ever come across as though I am diminishing someone's struggle, um, the hardship that they're facing day in and day out because of the confusion that's created. And no, I don't believe that they are invalid. No, that's a very valid thing they are going through. I don't know if anyone is specifically, whatever gender they're claiming. That's not for me to decide. That's not for me to decide. We just finished the pink moon, I think last night, Melissa A. I'm not into moon. I'm really not into I'm not into this stuff. But like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All right. Card number 34, circles. Clarity begins in the eye of the storm. So getting very, very much centered in the middle of everything you're experiencing, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult. Um, hmm. When you stop fighting, you naturally get sucked into the center of your internal storm. You have to stop fighting. That's the thing, because you're not fighting anything else but yourself. So if you allow yourself to get sucked into the center by just flowing with the storm, eventually you reach that point of stillness where there's not as much confusion. Misalignment. Miracles become normal once we face all of the aspects of our life in the same direction. Yeah. So things were misaligned and they need to be realigned. And it's a lot simpler than what we think. So, okay. Let's think in terms of chiropractic. Is that a word? Chiropractic terms. I'm not a chiropractor. I'm not aspiring to be one either. So here's the thing. I don't know why I'm so tickled right now. So we look at what chiropractors do. Their work is valuable. Yes, it is. When things are misaligned, you're not as able to work in the proper range of motion, right? Frozen shoulder, you can't lift your arm all the way up. I know several years back, I didn't realize that I had done this. I was lifting very, very heavy, doing deadlifts. I did not know I partially dislocated my hip. It was like a subluxation where it dislocates and it pops itself back in, but it didn't pop in all the way. So for months, I was in so much pain, but I still kept working out. I thought I was just like, I was forcing myself to work out. And the more I would work out, the more tight my muscles would get. And after a while, it just held it in place. It held that partial dislocation in place. And I just learned to deal with the pain. Well, one day, one night, I was sleeping and then I became cognitively aware that there was this feeling of like an alien presence in my RV, because at the time I was living in my RV full time. So I was feeling like an alien presence in my RV, and I opened my eyes and I realized I was doing mental projection. I was still partially astral. I wasn't awake. My body was still asleep. I opened my eyes, but my physical eyes didn't open. And I saw these beings working on me, and instantly I was going to fight back. Hell yeah. I didn't invite you in my RV. Who are you? It was Triangulum. They came and they were doing clearing of all sorts of miasmic distortions, all sorts of stored traumas. You store traumas in your musculature. And when they saw that I had woken up to a certain degree and that I was going to become combative, he sedated me. It was a masculine energy. He sedated me like heavily. And because of that sedation, instantly my muscles all relaxed. And then I heard a snap in my hip. And I thought he broke my hip. And then I woke up fully when I experienced that. And when I opened my eyes, I was like, oh shit, my hip's back. And oh my God, my hip was dislocated. I didn't know that whole time my hip was dislocated. So a lot of the things that we do to resist, oftentimes it's the very thing that prevents the realignment, so you won't exist in so much discomfort and pain. There was no reason that I had to hobble around for like 3 months. My body was fighting the return of that femur into its socket. The head of the femur was partially out. It was bad. It felt like someone kept sticking an ice pick into my hip joint anytime I moved. And I learned to be like, yay, it feels so good. Did not feel good. And yeah, it's one of those things where had I just stopped, paused, allowed myself time to assess and get assessed and heal that, I wouldn't have had that experience. But in that experience, I learned more about myself and about the importance of alignment and release. So, card number 12, creative power. Ooh, release your alchemical energy into the world. This release is going to occur. And I think it's tied to the eclipse that's going to be happening on the 30th of April. Card number 24, empty. The ending and beginning lie at either side of the same door. Endings are precursors to new beginnings. So this is about a rebirth taking place. Mm-hmm. I don't know, guys. This back and forth with this upside down mail. It's irritating. It is. It's irritating. I don't know. Maybe because I'm just so definitive when I finally make a decision. I'm like, no. Once I decide something and it's a no, it's a no. You're not going to convince me of anything. It's just a no. Like, nope. No, nope, 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 no, nope. Yeah. So that upside down male is an issue. I'm going so far as to say he's a liability. He is a full-fledged liability. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. He's irritating me. So now it feels like a liability. Card number 30, voice. You are here to be known, so speak and be seen. All right. What do you want me to say, Michaela? Michaela. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is a very interesting spread. So you are here to be known, so speak and be seen, right? That's the last card. Assistance with access. It's necessary to ask for and accept help in order to receive it. So this is someone who's trying to access you in some way, shape, or form in order to get the help that they need. But here's the thing. Wisdom in play, our intuition knows more than we do. They're not listening to their intuition. Why? Well, because number 8, weeping wound. They've identified as their wound. They feel like you are their heart existing outside of their chest, and it has driven them nuts this entire time. And so they decided that they were going to try and replace you with an artificial heart, a pig's heart. Michael liked that joke. It was a joke. Well, I mean, I guess it could kind of like be a play on words, because if they tried to replace you with an artificial heart, someone who they have artificial love for, sometimes they use pig parts to replace human heart parts. Apparently, heart of a pig is similar to a heart of a human. They don't do that so much anymore. But like early 80s and stuff, they were doing that. And it's this thing of casting pearls before swine. They picked a swine. Oh my God. They fell in love with Miss Piggy. They didn't fall in love with Miss Piggy. They tried to fall in love with Miss Piggy in order to forget about you. And that's where they messed up. That's where they messed up. But I mean, is that your problem? Like, did you create that problem? Is what I mean. Or did they become reactive to you for some reason and they created a problem for themselves and now it's being projected onto you? So we have to be careful how we view this, because I mean, you don't want to take ownership of a decision you didn't even make. The last thing you need is to take ownership of that. And then next thing you know, you're blaming yourself. And that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to resolve this. So card number 4, strength of vulnerability. The true power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. So, wow. True power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. That's the answer to your question, AP. So AP asks, how do you protect your energy or self when you feel someone attempting to connect to your energy or to your energy space? True power lies at the root of a perceived weakness. So maybe, um, maybe there's a fear that exists with that because you don't know if you can defend yourself. How do I protect my energy when I feel someone attempting to connect with my space? I start generating quite a bit of fire, intense energy. I'll let them connect. It'll burn all the way through the cord. It would. It would burn all the way through the cord and cause tremendous amounts of energetic damage. I'm not forcing them to connect. And they can feel that heat when they try. So then that becomes their choice. Their choice, knowing that there's only one potential outcome here. Things don't try and connect with my energy anymore. Because now I'm not afraid to utilize my energy in the way that I'm designed to utilize it. Is my intention to harm someone? No. I'm just circulating quite a bit of extreme energy right now. If you want to plug into that, it's going to mess you up. It doesn't mess me up. My intention is not to mess anyone up. But I'm allowed to do with my energy as I please within my own field. I still need to create that that link. I was going to teach basics in energy work class. It was going to be like a weekend type workshop. I got to get going with that. I got to do that soon. Card number 26, forgiveness. Hurt blocks our light. So this is a case of they got their feelings hurt. And so that's what continues to create the distortions that you've been dealing with, they've been dealing with, you both have been dealing with. I say let life unfold in whatever way it's going to unfold. What does that mean? Well, basically, I'm not committed to any particular outcome. It's going to unfold in the way that it's going to unfold. And that's kind of just that. And as it unfolds, I'm going to simply witness it. And maybe when we begin to do things that are more in alignment with what we are being taught by soul, it won't seem as difficult. It will still quite possibly be a struggle, but it won't be as difficult as when you fight your own soul. Okay. So I'm still like debating on doing expedites today. I'm in the middle of a whole bunch of different personal processes and I might not have time. If I don't do expedites today, I will try and do expedites during the week, depending on how that goes. I will have to reschedule this Tuesday's podcast and the exclusive chat with the participants in my private ministry. If you'd like to be part of those exclusive chats, you can go to soulworksynergistics.com/sanctuary. Yeah. And what else did I have to tell you guys? Anything, Emmy, that you want to find, whether it's services, readings, Dear Emmy, the Soulwork Sanctuary, my K33 Academy, you can find everything in soulworksynergistics.com. That's my primary website at this point. It serves as the hub for all the other programs that I run, including teaching programs. I do own an academy. You guys, I don't talk about it enough. I own an academy. I teach energy work and I also teach certification. I also run a private ministry. And that's the Soul Sanctuary.love. We do a whole bunch of different things in that private ministry. Just a whole bunch of different projects running at the same time. Any questions you have regarding anything that I'm offering, programs, whatever, go to soulworksynergistics.com. soulworksynergistics.com. Thank you, Lindsay. It's a general website to find all the projects we're working on. All right. So I'm going to get going. I hope you guys have an amazing, amazing Easter Sunday. Go find some eggs, chase some rabbits, eat some candy, and, have fun. I'll see you guys again very, very soon.